Say the line, Bart.
It's going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated.
Welcome back to the channel. We are discussing Victoria Alonso today. I know it seems to be a pertinent topic, and we're going to cover some of the information on it, what's going on, and also kind of put in perspective how this weighs in on the larger MCU and why it probably came to be in the first place. Let's go. Marvel's big mess, Victoria Alonso's contentious exit, presents a rare drama for the studio. Now, she's been at Marvel since around 2008. From box office disappointment of Quantumania to assault allegations against star Jonathan Majors, Marvel Studios is facing one crisis after another. And it's funny that the House of Cards is going to kind of collapse on them now after all these years when it finally, the activists took over. The inmates run the asylum, and we're seeing the results of that now. You cannot give these people an ounce of power or they will ruin everything. Look at Star Wars. Since 2008, Marvel Studios has been the very model of modern mini studio. Chief Creative Officer Kevin Feige and his small stable of executives have reliably delivered an unbroken string of global blockbusters to theaters and, starting in 2021, smash TV shows for Disney+. And they've done so while keeping virtually all their behind-the-scenes drama from spilling over into public view. Well, when you have activists involved, this is what happens. It took just a week for that impeccable reputation to all but collapse when Disney, Marvel's parent company, fired Feige's most high-profile lieutenant, Victoria Alonso, after 17 years with the company, most recently as the president of physical, post-production, and visual effects and animation. Now, a lot of VFX houses were really down on Disney and Marvel Studios in particular for their treatment of them, their deadlines, how quickly they wanted them to redo things, and it just led to bad working relationships with these VFX houses, with many of the individual artists saying that they were completely overworked and underpaid, and sometimes I believe not paid at all for their work.
You out of your goddamn mind, son of a...
She's always been a huge part of Marvel. Former Marvel Studios executive Jeremy Latcham, Guardians of the Galaxy, told Variety on March 26th, "I was very surprised to see the news. I hope all gets worked out, that everyone ends up friends. It's a great group of people that have always been really kind to each other. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a thing." That is such a boilerplate PC response. You know, these people, you're not going to get anything directly out of them. These articles, Variety, Vanity Fair, these are written for, your Hollywood insiders, more so than people like you and I.
That is correct.
Alas, it already has. Disney says Alonso was fired over her decision to moonlight for Amazon Studios as a producer on the Oscar-nominated international film Argentina in 1985, without notifying the company's management audit organization, a committee that approves extracurricular business activities. For example, Disney film executive Sean Bailey got its approval to invest in Terramana, Dwayne Johnson's tequila company. So this will go on here a little bit more, and then I'll give you a little more of my take on things here. Things became untenable, these sources say, after Alonso continued to promote Argentina in 1985 during award season, despite signing an amended employment agreement expressly forbidding her to do so. Boom! She signed an amended employment agreement expressly forbidding her from doing so. Directly went against her contract, folks. Boom! In a normal world, that is an immediate termination. You violated your contract, which you willingly signed. Nobody forced you to sign that deal. You signed it. You have to deal with the consequences of your actions. People are always talking about consequence culture versus cancel culture. This would be a prime example of consequence culture. Alonso's attorney, Patty Glazer, calls this contention absolutely ridiculous encounters that the executive was terminated when she refused to do something she believed was reprehensible, though what that was remains unclear. Representatives for Marvel and Alonzo also declined to comment for the story. Adding to the acrimony is Alonzo's contention she was quote-unquote silenced after a speech at the 2022 GLAAD Awards in which the executive, who is openly gay, called out Disney's then CEO Bob Chapek, the same Bob Chapek that was fired in the middle of the night on a Sunday, by name for his treatment of Florida's quote-unquote don't say gay bill, which the bill never expressly at all mentioned the word gay. It is called the Parental Rights and Education Bill, and it expressly forbids the presentation of materials that are inappropriate for certain age levels to your children. Never said anything about gay in the entire bill. But these people conflate things, and they use mental gymnastics to come up with these scenarios and situations in their head so they can keep that victimhood status. It's the same reason why you see so many people on Twitter put their disabilities in their bio, put their pronouns in their bio, put their proclivities in their bio. Does that matter in a normal functioning world in reality? No. But in the world of social media clout, digital head pats, and victimhood Olympics, that thing is paramount to your climb up that hill to the top of, as I said, of Mount Victim. While Alonzo did sit for several interviews in the months following her speech, she doesn't appear to have done any press for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the studio's first major award season contender since the original Black Panther, outside of the film's red carpet premiere, where she briefly spoke with Variety and other outlets.
Yada, yada, yada.
The prevailing theme of the press Alonzo has done recently is her passionate belief in the broadening representation at Marvel, which makes her acrimonious departure from Disney that much more notable. She's arguably the film industry's most prominent Latino executive, making a point of aligning herself with organizations at the intersection of the communities she represents, such as Reframe, the initiative founded and led by women in film, and the Sundance Institute to promote diversity on film sets and in executive suites.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
If you notice in the article, it mentioned her intersectionalism. Victoria Alonso was let go because she breached her contract. There's underlying themes there that are obviously, from a business stance, good for Disney as a company. This woman has managed to alienate their paying customers. Now, they can't outwardly fire her for her activism, but she breached her contract, which makes her termination that much more cut and dried. Now, when lawyers get involved, obviously the waters are always muddy. Legal proceedings are a nightmare for anyone involved. As somebody who's been through things in the past like that, that stretched on for over a half a decade, they're a nightmare unless one party or both have the finances to just, throw money at the problem to make it go away. So speaking of money, I mean, you've had some real stinkers come out of Marvel Studios. We talked about the VFX and the stress that that'll put on Marvel projects moving forwards. If you anger all these VFX houses, they're going to raise their rates so high that Disney Marvel will have to pay a king's ransom to get their VFX work done, which will lead to them doing an in-house VFX studio. And obviously those people will probably be treated way worse than their contractors were because they work for Disney. And it's like, if you want your job, you'll just do the work and shut your mouth, which will probably lead to walkouts. Now, this is all in the midst of them having to fire 7,000 employees, mind you, because of the financial state that they're in as a company. So we're talking, while we're on the topic of money, I mean, let's go down the list of these movies that have been released since the start of Phase 4. You had Black Widow, which financially did not do that well. Shang-Chi received well, I guess, by audiences. Not a great movie. Made a little bit of scratch. Eternals, I believe Eternals lost money. That was just horrible. From hiring Chloe Zhao as the director to the set pieces, the color palettes during the whole movie, the character moments, it was a joke. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, another insultingly bad movie that took its male lead and put him in the back seat to have the female Wanda stand out more. And, of course, America Chavez, Thor Love and Thunder, complete and utter failure, both critically and financially. Wakanda Forever, I don't know if that even... I don't know. I think it made a little bit of money again, but not much. And it was just a bad 2-hour and 41-minute schlock with no lead actor. Ant-Man Quantumania, that movie's losing, $150 million. And that's not counting the Disney Plus projects that have been canceled or not outright canceled, but pushed back as the money situation is impeding them from inundating the market with
products.
So shows like Echo and Ironheart and Agatha, Coven of Chaos got pushed back because nobody was asking for those shows in the first place. Nobody cares about Echo outside of a handful of people. And then the weirdos on Twitter who champion the cause because she's a diverse, disabled person. Coven of Chaos, let's be honest, no one's watching that. And Ironheart, that just speaks for itself. It's not because it's a black female lead. It's because the character was ill-received in the comics, never sold any books. Her debut in Wakanda Forever was painful to watch. And we haven't even talked about the Mehvilles yet. Yes, the Marvels, the downgraded Captain Marvel 2 sequel, which was pushed all the way back from July to November because they had to do major reshoots. You've got all these rumors coming out that Brie Larson has been difficult to deal with because she's not the star. She has to share the spotlight with Iman Vellani and Teyana Paris, Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel, respectively. And I forgot to include the Miss Marvel show in there, which I do believe, which I never saw a second of it because I knew it wasn't made for me and it did not interest me in the least bit. I know that that show was received halfway decent. I watched Hawkeye, and that is the only one of the Marvel shows in hindsight that is any, I don't even want to say good. It was passable, but it still ruined the character of Hawkeye. They could have made Kate Bishop stand on her own without making Hawkeye look like an idiot, but we'll get to that in a minute here. Disney fired her, Victoria Alonso, for a breach of contract. That was it. The fact, the performance of the films at the box office, and they can't blame the pandemic anymore. That's done. I don't care what you say, Grace. I don't care if you're Randolph, if you're still wearing 8 masks to the theater. But the pandemic is over. You can't blame that for financial shortcomings with your films anymore. Now it is on you. It is what you put out. The financial returns simply aren't there. And watching Ant-Man crash and burn has been hilarious and just very satisfying as somebody who is done consuming Marvel product. Now, I do have a visual aid as to possibly why Marvel has financially taken all these hits. So without further ado, let's get to the fun.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
Shite. Oh, yes. That's shite.
As I said, this whole issue comes down to the fact that she breached her contract. They're well within their rights to release her and now or fire her.
You're fired!
When you fire an activist, what do? They try to use their victim status. Every box check they have is weaponized against their former employer. And that's exactly what Alonzo and her attorney are doing right now. And it is funny. And this is why you never capitulate to these people. Never, ever. You never capitulate, because once you do, there's blood in the water, and these people are piranhas, and they smell it, and they will devour you, your company, your IP, whatever you have, they will destroy it, because that is what they do. They do not create, they destroy. That's it. That's all I've got. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Alonzo has a case? Do you think she has legal recourse against Disney after her firing, which was for breach of contract, a non-compete clause that she willingly signed and violated simply because the movie that she wanted to champion the cause of dealt with the Alphabet Mafia? It's all right there, folks. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I thank you so much for your support. If you've been watching this long, thank you guys. We will catch you on Saturday night's main event. We got more videos coming out. Shout out to my editor, Goodstuff Comic Skater. I'm Etep from The Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all these. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.